Hi, I'm James Webb, and today I'm going to show you a simple way on how to cook a suckling pig. So, right here, you will see that what we have is a suckling pig. Suckling pig is just a baby pig. This one weighs about 15 pounds, and I got it from the butcher. And when the butcher I got this from is called Striker Farms. You can find it online. They'll send it to you, and it'll be frozen. And all you got to do is just let it sit out in your refrigerator when you first get it for about a day, and then you take it out for a few hours prior to your cook. All right. Now, the kind of seasonings, again, like I said, this is gonna be a very simple recipe. Show you some of the things we're gonna be using is, first of all, we're gonna be using just some sweet onions. I already got them chopped up, and some apples. We're gonna put these on the inside of the cavity of the pig. As far as seasonings, very simple. One, we're gonna rub it with Italian dressing. Now, normally what I'll do is I like to, especially if it's a bigger pig, I usually use an injection. You know, like the Tony Kretschers, different types of injections that oftentimes you'll see with like for turkeys and stuff. Well, they also have some for pork. Now, oftentimes I'll use that, but for this one we're gonna do today, we're just gonna put a little bit of Italian dressing on the inside, poke it to help to let it permeate throughout that meat and give it a nice good taste. You see a lot of videos where people are talking about different kinds of how they put their rubs together. I do a very simple rub. One, you can use any of your favorite rubs, such as roasted garlic and herb from Grill Mates, and you can add in some more. There's like Famous Dave's rub. There's pretty much anything you want. You can kind of mix it together into a bowl, and it's got all the different ingredients. Rather than going through and saying so much paprika, so much pepper, so much salt, just go ahead and get you a set of seasonings that are already pre-mixed. But now the one thing I will add to this at the end will be a little bit of what I have purchased. Is called Sexy Pig. You can buy that online as well. So to get started, well, let's see here. First, got to take our little piggy, and as you open up, you'll see they do a good job of cleaning and everything. But I wanted to go ahead and I need to cut it the rest of the way through, because right now they stopped it at the breastbone, and you can use some shears and cut it. The rest of the way. Just be careful not to cut your finger. Now, if this was a whole pig, of course, you probably wouldn't be able to do it with the shears. You'd probably have to use a knife. But for this little guy, I think I can do it with these shears. Yeah, these shears need to be sharpened, but anyways, you get the picture. So it's now open. Now, as you can see on the inside. Next thing we need to do is on this particular one, they left the kidneys in there. I'm not gonna eat the kidneys, so you need to now go through and you kind of clean it up, take out anything that you don't really want in there, such as in this case. I don't want those kidneys. Yep. Your liver, no, these are kidneys. Yeah, those are kidneys. Yeah. I was thinking for a minute there that it might be the livers, but no, these are kidneys. Now, so there's open. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and take some time and just go through here and kind of clean everything else out. Okay, and I'll be right back with you. Now, well, we're back. I've already gone through and I pulled out all the silver skin and anything else that I felt that I didn't want to eat. The pig's nice and clean. So now what we're gonna do. The next thing we need to do is, like I was telling you, rather than do an injection because this guy is so small, I'm first going to poke the meat. And so you're just going to go all throughout and just start poking it. You try not to permeate through that outside skin, because the outside skin, you don't want it to crack. What we really want for that outside skin is in the end, you're going to see that we're really going to get a nice crunchy outside skin. And if we start punching that skin too much, Then when it gets to the on the grill cooking, it will not be as good. So we'll just keep poking him, get him nice and ready so it can receive the Italian dressing. Again, like I said before, this is a little guy. So now realistically, what I should do is on those hams, well, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. So for the head, because you can eat the head as well, even poking around the head, get it nice and tender. You try to get up there in them little shoulders. All right. Now, the next thing I need to do is, because you'll notice now with these hams, you know, the back here, I'm going to shave off just a little more skin because I really want to get in there. I want to get that Italian dressing down in there as well. So you just be careful and try to preserve as much of that skin on the top as you can. And we're going to do the same thing up front here. I'm going to go ahead and slice this a little bit more and open it up. Just a little bit. Again, being careful. You know, again, see, what you want to do is you want to still preserve some of that skin, but you also want a way of being able to inject that meat up, or that Italian dressing up in there. So, do the same thing here. I'll just cut myself a little pocket. Take that skin open. And I do apologize, I know my hand's in the way, so y'all can't really see. But the now you can see, whereas I've kind of opened it up a little bit, so I can now poke that skin again a little to get a little more of the Italian dressing in there. And we'll do the same thing down here on that ham. Okay, that should do it for Mr. Pig. The next thing we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and pour our Italian dressing inside. And you just liberally, see, because the good thing about with Italian dressing, it's already got all these seasonings in there. It's got onions, it's got garlic, it's got all kinds of, you know, good flavors inside that pig. And we'll pour that over the head. Just liberally pour this sauce, so this Italian dressing, all within there. And then you just use your hand and just kind of give them a massage, you know, give them a bath to get that stuff deep inside that cavity. Okay. So now you can really see the advantage as far as why, if you're not injecting it, why you want to go ahead and poke it. Get that all in there. All right. All right. All right. Once you get it in there, again, because this is a, we're doing like a 1 day prep, you know, like normally what I would do is if I did something like this and I'm injecting it, I'd wait until, I do it the day before my cook. Therefore, all that, you know, marinade will get all up in there if you're using the marinator. But for this one, because again, this is a quick cook, I'm just going to go ahead and let it sit here for about 30 minutes to allow these juices to really just go through into that meat before I put it on that grill. So I'll be back in 30 minutes. All right. All right, so we're back. The next thing we're going to do is any excess dressing that's in there, we want to go ahead and drain that off. So I'll just put it over the sink, let that dry out. There. See, because the thing is, you don't want a pool of fluid in there, but you do want it all nice and moist. So now it's time to start putting in our dry seasonings, our rub. So I'm going to first start off with, again, like I said, it's just a mixture of a couple of different dry rubs. And you just go ahead and you take it and liberally pour it all within your pig, just liberally. You can never have too much. Nice and in there. And you just kind of take your hand and kind of rub it in there. Just kind of get Mr. Piggy all lathered up. And like I said, don't be afraid to put it in there, rather heavy, because all it's going to do is just add to that flavor. And remember those areas that we cut open earlier. Make sure you get up into there too, to include up here under his arms on both sides. Now, if this is a larger pig, what I would do is I would cut in between the skin and the ribs to kind of open those ribs up a little bit more. But because this guy is so little, I'm not going to even bother doing that. Yeah. And that way we'd end up seasoning both sides of those ribs. But I think we did a good job with our poking. All right, so got that all on there. And again, nice and well seasoned. Then the next thing is, remember I was telling you about, I like to use this Sexy Pig as well. So again, this is what I use, the Sexy Pig. It adds that sweet taste to the meat. Open it up and then just pour a little Sexy Pig in there as well. Yep. Put our Sexy Pig all in there. All right. Mr. Pig is now seasoned. Now, the last part of this is to now just kind of stuff it with our onions and apples. So again, like I said, although I said earlier that I cut these up, I didn't really cut these up. My wife cut these up. And so I want to take a few minutes to give a shout out to my wife. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my wife right here. Say hello to everybody, please.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So now that's my partner in crime.
Yes, I am.
So she cut up these onions for me. So I just put the onions all in there, and we're going to put some apples in there as well. These will give it a nice sweet taste. Now, sometimes if it was a larger pig, I'd stuff other things in here as well. I've even at one of my cooks, I even stuffed a chicken inside the pig, and that turned out great. And the chicken, I stuffed the chicken with sausage, so therefore you had a chicken stuffed with sausage stuffed inside of a pig. That was a good cook. That turned out to be a very good cook. All right. And that is good right there. All right. So, now what some people will do is they'll take the time to go ahead and sew the stomach together in order to keep keep all the flavors in there. But I'm not worried about that because of how small this pig is, when I set his butt on that grill, I'll be able to maintain all of those flavors right in there. and it'll also allow them to the excess juice to drip out. If I was turning it this way, then it would be fine. The juice would sit right in the cavity. But you'll see I'm going to be cooking him with the skin side up. The other thing also that you want to do is, let me rinse my hands for a real quick second, because the last part of this preparation is you want to dry the outside of your pig. So we'll turn him to the side here and we'll dry him off. And the reason why you want it dry is you want it to be nice and dry when you put it on the grill, because that's part of that process as far as get the skin nice and crunchy on the outside. So we'll start off by getting him nice and dry here. Halfway through the cook, we'll put oil in on the outside of them. The type of oil you want to use is, today I'm going to be using canola oil. You could use vegetable oil, but you want to use some type of frying oil to put on the outside of the pig. So again, that's what gives it that skin, that crunch. So that side of Mr. Piggy's done. I'll turn him over and dry this side of this little fella. Okay, and then I'll also make sure, even as I put him on the grill, that I'll probably wipe him one last time once he's on there to make sure everything is dry. All right, so Mr. Piggy is now ready. The next phase of this cook will be to actually have him on the grill. So I'll see you in a few minutes as I take him outside. All right. Now we brought little Piggy out in a little tray, and we got him on the grill now. And as you can see, I've already started wiping him down, because again, we want to make sure he's nice and dry during this phase. You could put a little bit of Pam on there. I put Pam on my grill before I set him on there, in order to ensure that when it's time to take him off, he's not going to stick to my grill. Another thing that you need to be careful of is to ensure that you clean your grill thoroughly before you cook. Before every cook, you should really take the time, get a wire brush, thoroughly clean it off. I like to let my grate get nice and hot, then take a wire brush, clean it off, and then after using the wire brush to clean it off, then get some dishwashing detergent and some hot water. Just go all over it to make sure that you get any bristles, wire bristles, that could possibly be on there, and any other debris. Get your grill nice and clean before you do any of your cooks. So again, now Piggy's ready. He's in the grill. Tell you a little bit more about this particular grill that I'm using. This grill is a Lang. So if you would, we'll come over to, I'm gonna just do a quick little shout out and show you where, right here, shots. This is where I got my grill from. They do a very, very good job. And again, you'll see that on this side of the grill is a charbroil. I can be cooking here as well while I'm doing my cooks. And I just use charcoal for that. This one is a, use it with wood. And the way that it cooks is there's a firebox back here. The top part, this is a warmer. So you gotta open it up and keep other foods warm in it while you're cooking. And on the bottom is the actual firebox. And you'll see, it doesn't take much wood. Wood in there. And you'll manage your temperature with your vents and with the fluke. The key thing is to make sure that you don't have a whole bunch of white smoke coming out. You want nice, clear, maybe light blue bellows of smoke coming out. And the optimal temperature that we're going to be cooking this pig, we're going to be doing this what's called low and slow. So we're going to be cooking this pig at a temperature of between like 225, no more than 250. So I anticipate it's going to take us at least 3 hours to cook this pig. So again, it is not set by time. The internal temperature of our pig, we want to make sure that it's at least 190 degrees internal temperature. So I have my thermometers and everything that I'll be using later on to just kind of poke into there and leave them in there just so we can keep track of the temperature. So the grill is now shut. Piggy is in there. Piggy is in for his nap. And we'll come back in about an hour or so and see how he's doing. All right. The one thing I want to show you is, remember I was telling you earlier that the key that we want to roast this pig at is between 225 and 250. So as you can see, I mean, we're looking real good right now. We're right down to 225, between the 225 and 250, so we can do a nice low and slow cook. Let's go ahead and open it up. Check out how Mr. Piggy's doing. And we're gonna see if he's ready. A couple of things we need to do is, one, we need to go ahead and wrap the nose and the ears. Yeah, he's there. As you can see, he's now starting to get a nice tan color. So we'll take a little of this canola oil and we'll brush it on him in order to keep him nice and supple. And also, this is again in order to ensure that we have that nice crunchy skin in the end. So we'll just go ahead and lather him down. Make sure you get the nose and the ears. And if you recall, we did not put any seasoning on the outside. He's cooking just right. This is just where we want him to be. Just be careful not to burn yourself when you're doing this. All right. All right. So now I just got to get a little bit of aluminum foil. Bring this over so I can now, I'm going to wrap the ears. Okay. And there's no special way as far as how to do that. You just want to kind of cover them up a little bit, or else they'll cook too fast. And wrap the other ear. And then lastly, we'll wrap that snout. All right. That should do it. Now, I oftentimes like to wrap the legs on there also, or else what'll end up happening, those legs will start to really crimp. And so, and as you can look at there now, you'll see he's already starting to posture. So, let's wrap those feet up a little bit. Now, if it was a big hog, and I was cooking it for a long period of time, I'd also, sometimes you'll even just cut the feet off. But for this guy, we're gonna keep the feet on. So now Mr. Piggy is ready to go back for another nap. The wood, as you'll see, I already well, I'll let the temperature rise up, and then I'll see if I need to put any more wood on. But for right now, that's it. I'll see you back in a little while. All right, so we're back. We're gonna go now check on little Piggy. And as you can see on the temperature again, remember our optimal temp we're trying to stay between is 225 and 250. So we're holding it very well. But since I was with you last, I went ahead and threw some chickens on there. Had so much space left over on this grill, just didn't make any sense just to waste it. So we put a few chickens on there, thighs. And as you can see, we got a few chicken thighs on there. And you can see Piggy is coming along really good right now. The key thing in that skin, again, I can't talk enough about that skin. Again, we're just gonna go ahead and continue to just baste him a little bit. Keep him nice and tan. Because we don't want the skin to get burnt up. We want it to stay this color. And if it does start to get too dark, you can always put a little aluminum foil over them. Just to keep them where you want. Yeah, that skin's getting right where we want it to be. In a few minutes, I'll take a probe and stick it in there just to see what our temperatures look like. And as for this chicken over here, let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah, it's about ready. We can flip it. All right. So everything's looking good. Let's go ahead and put him back to bed. And I'll see you in a little while. All right, so we're back. We're gonna go now check on little Piggy. And as you can see on the temperature again, remember our optimal temp we're trying to stay between is 225 and 250. So we're holding it very well. But since I was with you last, I went ahead and threw some chickens on there. Had so much space left over on this grill, just didn't make any sense just to waste it. So we put a few chickens on there, thighs. And as you can see, we got a few chicken thighs on there. And you can see Piggy is coming along really good right now. The key thing in that skin, again, I can't talk enough about that skin. Again, we're just gonna go ahead and continue to just baste him a little bit. Keep him nice and tan. Because we don't want the skin to get burnt up. We want it to stay this color. And if it does start to get too dark, you can always put a little aluminum foil over them. Just to keep them where you want. Yeah, that skin's getting right where we want it to be. In a few minutes, I'll take a probe and stick it in there just to see what our temperatures look like. And as for this chicken over here, let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah. Yeah, it's about ready. We can flip it. All right. So everything's looking good. Go ahead and put him back to bed. And I'll see you in a little while. All right. So the one thing we need to do now is we need to check as far as for the temperature. Because like I was telling you earlier, it's not based on how much time you leave it in there, because there's lots of variables that can affect how long it's going to take that pig to cook. Your outside temperature, barometric pressure, elevation, lots of factors. So what you really want to do is you want to cook based on the doneness of that pig. So at this time, I'm going to go in and we're going to now go ahead and put our probe in. I'm going to leave the probe in after I put them in. And you want to check to see how what the temperature currently is. I use this type of a thermostat as far as I can set my my setting, and I put it to pork well. It automatically tells me the pork well needs to be at least 170. Like I was telling you, for this cook, we're going to go for like 190, 180, 190 is what we're really looking for. So we'll check that back ham out back here to see what it's registering at. It just takes a few seconds. And even when you put your probe in, make sure you're not touching any bone. You don't want to touch a bone, or else that's going to really elevate that temperature and give you a false reading. So right now it says that our internal temperature on that far end is like 135, okay? And we're going for 170. You also check up here at the front. And put it in there, pull it back a little bit so it's not on the bone. Let's see what the front is registering at. Just give it a few seconds. Okay, so we can see the front is also registering about 130, 133. And again, we're going for 170. So we know we got probably at least another hour on this pig before it gets to, at least it reaches a minimum of 170. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and leave that probe in. And I can just lay this up here. And I can come back and from this point on, I don't have to even open it to see what the temperature's looking like, other than just to check those chickens. But I can just leave the probe in. All right, I'll see you in a little while. All right, so the one thing we need to do now is we need to check as far as for the temperature, because like I was telling you earlier, it's not based on how much time you leave it in there, because there's lots of variables that can affect how long it's going to take that pig to cook. Your outside temperature, barometric pressure, elevation, lots of factors. So what you really want to do is you want to cook based on the doneness of that pig. So at this time, I'm going to go in and we're going to now go ahead and put our probe in. I'm going to leave the probe in after I put them in. And you want to check to see how what the temperature currently is. I use this type of a thermostat as far as I can set my my setting, and I put it to pork well. It automatically tells me the pork well needs to be at least 170. Like I was telling you, for this cook, we're going to go for like 190, 180, 190 is what we're really looking for. So we'll check that back ham out back here to see what it's registering at. It just takes a few seconds. And even when you put your probe in, make sure you're not touching any bone. You don't want to touch a bone, or else that's going to really elevate that temperature and give you a false reading. So right now it says that our internal temperature on that far end is like 135, okay? And we're going for 170. You also check up here at the front, and put him in there, pull it back a little bit so he's not on the bone. Let's see what the front is registering at. Just give it a few seconds. Okay, so we can see the front is also registering about 130, 133. And again, we're going for 170. So we know we got probably at least another hour on this pig before it gets to, at least it reaches a minimum of 170. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that probe in. And I can just lay this up here. And I can come back and from this point on, I don't have to even open it to see what the temperature's looking like, other than just to check those chickens. But I can just leave the probe in. All right, I'll see you in a little while. All right, well, it looks like time is really getting away from us here. We're now 4 hours into this cook. It's gotten a little dark outside, but as we look at the temperature now, I can see, first of all, we're still cranking it right at about 250. And as we look at the internal temp for Piggy, he's at 165. So we're now on this last stretch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and marinate him one more time. And then we're gonna crank the temperature up. Because again, this is that final part of the cook as far as to get that skin nice and crunchy. So, oh yeah. Yeah, as we look at Mr. Piggy, we can see he's on the last stage of the cooking process. So I'll just go ahead and lube him up one last time, and then we're gonna crank it up. The skin, yeah, it's already getting to that point where we really want it, where it's being nice and taut. So, let's see here. One last time with the oil. Oh yeah. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to place a few more logs into the firebox, and then I'm going to open up the fluke. The fluke is right here, and when I open that fluke up, it's going to allow more air in there and allow it to, that temperature to crank all the way up to 5. So when I turn up the fluke right here, this now opens it up, and now I'll be able to get those temperatures to climb all the way up to around 500 to where I'm trying to get, all right? So we'll see you back here in just a few more minutes. All right, our timer's now flashing, so we know that our pig is now sitting at 176. And that's good enough, because what's going to happen is, again, remember I was telling you I wanted to get it up to like 180. Even when we take him off, he will still continue to cook. So let me turn this off. And let's check out Mr. Piggy. All right. As you can see, Mr. Piggy is now ready. So I can remove that probe. Now, it's going to be a little tricky. Let me get my gloves. It's going to be a little tricky getting Mr. Piggy off, because as you recall, when I put him on here, I never put the, I did not sew up the cavity. I left the cavity open, and that was intentional. And so now, the trick will be to get him off without making too much of a mess. We'll see. So I'll first start off by loosening him up a little bit underneath. That's good. That's good. That's good. There you go. That's it, Mr. Piggy. That bone is a little on there, but that's good. All right. So I've loosened this side of Mr. Piggy. Loosen up the other side a little bit. And it's free. All right. So now to bring him home. And this is the most critical part, is getting him onto the platter. There we go. Good drop. All right. So Mr. Piggy is now safely on our platter, and we will now take him inside. So I will meet y'all inside. All right. All right. So now, as you can see, Piggy is now done, ready to cook. So my wife, she's already gone ahead and garnished it, you know, as far as with the dressings or the decoration all around it. And well, matter of fact, I'd like y'all to meet my wife. Silka, please say hello to everybody.
You have to hold it. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, right. This is my partner in crime.
I am, and we did the pig today together. Hello.
All right. All right. So the next thing I want to do is just to show you what we've been working on with this pig. You'll notice, you can see how crunchy that skin is already. And the way that I like to do these, I like to just cut. I mean, this thing is so tender. Oh, this is crazy. It's so tender. Cut it across the back. And then I'll slice it down the middle. I mean, this thing is so tender. It's crazy how tender this thing is. All right. Move that a little bit. And then I'm just gonna cut down the side, just so we can really see and appreciate what we've got here. All right. And let's see, we'll cut along this side too. See, because when you're doing like a pig picking, what you like to do is this is the best way to, you know, prepare so that your guests, they can pull their own meat really from this. I'm trying to cut backwards. I tell you what, let me turn it this way. It'll be so much easier. All right. So we're gonna come on this side just so we can, so I can show you. So you'll see, and again, we just took this pig right off. And as you peel that skin back, look how easily that skin pulls off. And there's your meat. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let this rest for a little bit, and then we'll be able to just go ahead and take this meat and just go in and you'll chop it, and then you'll pull it, and you do the same thing on both sides. Again, look how easily that skin pulls away. Ooh, this is hot. How that skin pulls away from the meat. Open it up, form it like a little bowl. And again, like I said, you just go in, we'll pull all that meat out of there, and then you'll allow your guests to come in and they can get their own meat. Now, I'm gonna pull off or cut just a little piece of this skin. That is so good. So, again, now the one question that I'm sure a lot of people are asking is, when you cook a whole pig like this, how many people can you feed? Well, you can easily feed 20 people with this pig. But for today, it's just for my wife and I. And why? Because it's my birthday. Yep, today is my birthday. I'm celebrating the big 6-1.
Happy birthday, my
Thanks.
Schatzilein.
Thanks.
Happy birthday.
Thanks,
Mwah.
Schatz. All right. All right. Thanks, everybody.